Well, she is the face of WTOL 11, the heart of our newsroom and part of the soul of this city. You've welcomed her into your homes for 2 decades now. But now she is moving on to her next chapter, one that doesn't have her sitting behind the anchor desk. So we are going to do our best to take a look back at the last 20 years and say thank you. Now, this is what Chrys is paid to do, all right? Report on the big issues facing Toledo and Northwest Ohio, the surrounding area, giving you the information you need when you need it. But her passion is getting into the community, getting active, getting involved, and being successful. Dan Cummins joins us now with a look at the legacy Chrys is leaving in our community. Dan.
Chrys Peterson, this is your life. Yeah. You can't talk about Chrys without talking about community involvement. She spends hundreds of hours of her own time emceeing charity events and speaking to groups and organizations.
We all know that Chrys has very many causes that she's passionate about, but I believe that her greatest commitment and her greatest impact has been with our organization, Susan G. Komen of Northwest Ohio.
For 20 years, Chrys has served as the honorary chairwoman of the Northwest Ohio Komen Race for the Cure for Breast Cancer, helping to raise millions of dollars to fight this devastating disease. She's helped grow this race into what it is today, from 600 racers to more than 20,000 taking part in the largest participatory event in Northwest Ohio. That first race raised about $12,000. Now they regularly eclipse the $1 million mark. But the numbers are only one part. The faces and the names of those that money goes to help is what really matters.
And to see the in memories of, that's hard. It's hard to see, but there are people out there who aren't forgetting them, who love them.
She was a mom. She was a wife. She was a sister. She was an aunt. She was a dear friend.
In her 20th year being involved in Northwest Ohio Komen, Chrys's responsibilities expanded. She served as the MC of the Findlay inaugural race, cheering on 3,000 runners and walkers on the path to finding a cure.
You know, every week for 17 years, Chrys was a champion for the youngest members of our community who didn't have a family to call their own. During her Home for Keeps series, she introduced us to hundreds of kids looking for their forever family. And during that time, Lucas County Children's Services was involved in some 2,400 adoptions. Chrys's tireless work as an advocate was no doubt in part responsible for some, likely many, of those. Emily Voss found one family whose life was completely changed thanks to Chrys, and they've never had the opportunity to say thank you until now.
Oh, that's neat.
This is Jennifer, a soft-spoken 10-year-old who hates vegetables and loves art.
Why do we only have art once a week? I mean, I don't like music. We have that 2 times a week.
Jennifer was one of Chrys's 800-plus Home for Keeps kids looking for a forever family. The two spent an afternoon at the Toledo Museum of Art.
Is this the kind of art you do at school?
I think it'd be a little too hard.
It would be a pretty big project to do, huh?
Fast forward 16 years. Gathered around this kitchen table in South Toledo is several generations of the Thomas family.
We're my first day of school. Nice. And Jesse's wedding.
And right in the middle of it, we find Jennifer.
We were not looking to adopt at all.
Vicki and Frank Thomas had 2 biological kids, a son and a daughter, both just out of high school and about to leave home.
Their family was complete, their children were older.
But there was just something about Jennifer.
My name was Jay, my name was Jennifer, and they already have 2 children with J names, so I fit in that way.
And it was something Jennifer said.
In a bratty moment, Chrys asked me,
now would you consider that art?
No.
Sometimes it's hard to see why it's in a museum, isn't it?
Maybe it's like famous. Maybe someone like George Bush touched it or something.
Maybe George Bush touched it.
And they were like, she knows who George Bush is? She's ours.
About 6 months later, the adoption process was complete.
Right before her 12th birthday, or right after her 12th birthday is when they finalized it. I said, oh, that's the time the mom's got to go through the rough part. But it was well worth it. Our family wouldn't be complete without her. You know, we thought we were complete at the time, and we were making plans. We had no idea, but when we saw that, infomercial with Chrys and Jen.
It's not hard to tell this family loves to joke around.
And my husband was into infomercials. That was the clencher.
Yeah.
The only one that he ever came away with something good.
Most guys, when they go through midlife crisis, get a car, not a teenage daughter.
Yeah, that's true.
Jennifer is now 26 years old and a mom to 3 young kids.
Probably the thing that makes me proudest, though, is watching her as a mom. You know, she just loves her kids.
And my sister is my best friend, and our kids are best friends.
You know, what she's given us is a multi-generational blessing. I mean, don't make me cry.
Jennifer hasn't spoken to Chrys since that day in 1998, but she is very much aware of the difference one woman made in her life.
Her interactions with me was the reason that my parents even were drawn to me when they weren't even looked to adopting anybody.
I like it. I can get used to lettuce.
Carrots?
There are people that they come into your life and there's just one moment, and it's like one moment in their life, but they change your whole life. They're one tiny moment in their life that they probably don't even really think a lot of, just can completely change somebody's entire destiny.
And so now, as Chrys gets ready to move on to the next chapter of her life, the Thomas family wants to say thank you for how she's changed theirs.
Thank you. I mean, it was we wouldn't have known her if it hadn't been for you.
Definitely say thank you. Thank you. Your life has made a difference in other people's lives, and maybe you aren't aware of it, but you made a difference. I only cry when he does.
And it's okay to cry.
It is.
Way to go.
And Chrys, you have made a difference. I mean, the second I met this family, and they are so representative of so many other families we heard from who were involved in your Home for Keeps program. And she said she saw you one time in a hot dog shop and you were with your daughter Riley, and she didn't want to bug you. But she says that you, and the whole Thomas family says you have completely changed their lives, and she can't imagine what kind of mom she would be without what you did in her life.
And that's one, kiddo.
One.
And there were so many others.
I'm sure you've all had the same circumstance. You'll be approached in the grocery store and somebody go, "Got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is Chrys Peterson as nice
nice
in
as
person
she
as
really
on
is?"
TV?"
Yeah.
And I go, "You have no idea how much better she is in person." I mean,
Is that what you say?
Oh yeah, she's terrific.
Wow, he's one-upping you, Jerry. You gotta start saying she's better.
Seeing that race for the cure, just when those people take off, it isn't even the people up front. It's when we're there and 20 minutes after the gun goes off, by the thousands, they're still coming through. That's the one that gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, it's amazing. This community has been remarkable in wrapping their arms around that event in particular. And, you know, when you go from 600 people to 20,000 people in an event like that, and you know you are raising that money and we are saving lives here in our community, and they're doing it. And it's been amazing to see.
Coleman in Home for Keeps featured right there, but you're involved with so many charities. I know that you believe, as I do, that's part of what we should be doing in our communities.
You know, television news is supposed to be serving the public interest.
Right.
And to me, in our community, we are serving the public interest by doing those things because we are making our community a better place to live and changing lives like Jennifer's, you know, one at a time, where we are making a difference and making them be productive and wonderful and able to move on and contribute to our community.
Well, you have done it splendidly, amazingly well for 20 years. All right, tonight as we say goodbye to our friend and colleague, we want to find out how much you know about Chrys Peterson. All right, for instance, where did Chrys go to college? George Mason, the University of Toledo, James Madison, a lot of guys' names here, George Washington University. The answer is coming up.
Chrys Peterson is exactly the way you see her. What you see is what you get. She's exactly what you see on the air, a warm, kind, funny human being. And she was just great to work with. And she made my final years in broadcasting a pleasure. And for that, I'll always be grateful.
This is Steve Hartman from CBS News. Chrys, there are just a few people in this business who I truly respect, and you've always been one of those. And there are even fewer people in this business who I truly care for. And you're one of those. Good luck.
Congratulations, Chrys Peterson, on 20 years with WTOL. We wish you all the best.
Chrys Peterson, what can I say about you? You are just a gem, a star, and I know very well your future will just be as bright as everything you've brought to Toledo. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment. And keep swinging that pink towel, kiddo, because you did a great job at the ladies' game against Ohio U.
I just want to say on behalf of myself and my parents, who told me that I needed to say hey to you, that we are so appreciative of everything that you have done for the city of Toledo. You are the actual light of energy that actually makes this city such a great place to live.
Well, Chrys, best of luck as you pursue other things in your life. You have been absolutely phenomenal for the Toledo and Northwest Ohio region. You are a beautiful person inside and out, and we will miss you tremendously, especially here in the Flag City.
Chrys, it's been great having you out there doing a great job. We're going to certainly miss seeing you on TV every day, but the great news is what we're excited about is you being able to spend more time with your family, and we're extra excited that you're still staying in the Toledo area, so we will hopefully be crossing paths frequently.
All right, our mayor segment there with the sheriff rolled in. Our good friend Mark Wasylyshyn. What's our standing joke about Mark?
I can't believe he made himself available to be on
How did we ever get Sheriff on? He loves the camera, and we appreciate him doing that.
We do appreciate it.
Hey, tonight we're testing your Chrys Peterson knowledge. We asked, where did Chrys go to college? Do you know this one? It is one of the name schools, okay? And the answer is, Chrys?
James Madison University.
James Madison University, that is in Virginia?
Yes, in Harrisonburg, Virginia.
And they are the James Madison
Dukes.
The Dukes
The Dukes.
of James Madison.
Yeah.
And by the way, you can give yourself partial credit. It wasn't on your list, but recently Chrys received her master's degree in organizational leadership at Lord's University.
It's good to see me, isn't it?
It is always good to see you, partner, with that infectious smile and laugh. It's no wonder Chrys not only excelled at covering hard journalism, but could just as easily transition to Glinda's Bubble on the set of Wicked at the Stranahan Theater. You enjoyed that, didn't you?
That was a thrill. Yeah, for
Hey,
sure.
we are having some fun with Chrys on this, her farewell evening, but make no mistake, Chrys is a serious news person. When big stories break, Chrys is the one Toledo turns to, providing an urgent but calm explanation to our viewer, whether it be during severe weather, a tragic bus crash, or a local police detective killed in the line of duty. When a gunman jumped the counter at a Toledo KFC and killed employee Misty Fisher during a mid-90s robbery, Chrys was on duty. She jumped into action.
After the shooting, the gunman apparently came out the back door here and got into a car where a second suspect was waiting to make a getaway.
Another gunman opened fire while being pursued by a Toledo detective 7 years ago. And as she's always done, Chrys put a most human face on Keith Dressel's death when she introduced us to his wife, Danielle. Bluffton University's baseball team was heading to a spring trip when its bus careened off an Atlanta overpass. Despite the emotions the tragedy uncovered, Chrys anchored hours of coverage and once again gave voice to a victim's family when she talked with John Betts, whose boy David died in the crash.
David would have really appreciated this.
And when the Bluffton survivors would eventually play their first game of the season, Chrys was there, field anchoring our coverage. And she was back in the field and in the water when century-worst floodwaters submerged Findlay in Ottawa. Even in the watery destruction, Chrys found the goodness in others and reported on perfect strangers helping each other out in their desperate times. Chrys was there on location even when times made us feel not so good. Great reporters know it goes with the territory, even when that landscape includes the KKK coming to town. Many times the big stories are good news stories. Toledo fended off several suitors to keep Jeep in town. And when the new plant opened, Chrys brought us the story. When Chrys sits down with a powerful person, as she has with Laura Bush, Hillary Clinton, and Sarah Palin, make no mistake, there are two strong women in the picture.
I'm just wondering if you or your husband has ever lost a job and if you've ever had to, rely on government assessance in any way.
But her empathetic approach to discovering what really makes a person tick gets newsmaker after newsmaker to open up. But among her favorite reporting experiences, Chrys counts her coverage of Pope John Paul II's visit to St. Louis.
That must have been one incredible experience.
I'll tell you, Jerry, I don't think there's anyone who attended today's mess that will ever forget that experience.
Chris's title, like mine, says anchor reporter. I'm Jerry Anderson.
And I'm Chrys Peterson. Thanks for joining us tonight.
We both believe you can't do the former well unless you've excelled at the latter. Chris has and does excel at covering news. That's a fact that can get lost in all the personality. But news viewers sense what Chris's colleagues know. She's an extraordinary TV journalist, and we can all be grateful she shared her talents with us for so long. And believe me, that scratched the surface. And I specifically wanted to do that story because I think that gets lost sometimes. At the end of the day, we are paid to inform people, bring them the news, and nobody's better than that than you are.
Thank you, Jerry. It's, you know, it's hard. I think we do this night after night for several hours a day, and we go home with heavy hearts sometimes because these are people in our community that are going through these tragedies. We were both down in Findlay when it was flooded that day, and several times actually over the years, and it has just been, I mean, it's heart-wrenching to see your viewers, your friends and neighbors out there having to go through those things. So that's the tough part of the job.
In our business, you have to have something of a callus because if you take it all personally, sometimes I think you just go home and crawl into the bed and stay there. Yeah. And yet, if you have too much of a callus, you miss those human moments and you're not connecting with the stories, are you?
Right, exactly. And you know, that's the finding the balance. I mean, I think we can all say, put ourselves in this situation. What if this was me? What if this was my family, my mom, my child that this was happening to? And it's very easy to take it from there.
And she has mentored a lot of young reporters along the way. Now, you may or may not know it, but Chris is a big sports fan. Of course, the Rockies and baseball, but she's proudly in attendance at most UT women's basketball home games. As a way to show how much Chris has meant to the team, they produced and played a video at one of their recent home games.
Inspiring, passionate, ambitious,
selfless.
That was so good, and it went on and on. We'd love to be able to show all of it. We can't, but that has been a great relationship that you have had with the young ladies who play basketball over UT. Absolutely love them. One of the greatest things about Tricia Cullop, the coach, is that she always picks girls that are really girls of great character. If only we had the coach with us. Oh, wait! Joining us now to talk about just what Chris does for the UT women is their head coach, Tricia Cullop. Coach, thank you for being here. Talk a little bit about what Chris has meant, the relationship you guys have.
Well, I got to tell you, when I moved to town, just getting to know her, I think the thing that I admired and what I like about having her as a part of our program is just how generous, how sincere, what a big heart she has, what a great role model she is. And you want to be very guarded on who you let around your team. But I tell you, I would let her on my team any day. And our players admire her so much. She gives of her time. She cooks meals for them. Yeah, talk about that. You have had, the team's been over at the house.
Sure they have.
She has, and I tell you what, she's a fantastic cook. She is. I think the kids will vouch they would much prefer her meals than mine.
Yeah. And even stamped up, you guys had that Israel trip a few years ago. And here we go, we're at the game now. But Chris stepped up to support all of that as well. And here you're doing your deal wearing the pink 11s.
That's been so incredible. Tricia came to me with that. That was her big idea and said,
pink jerseys?
Yes,
yeah.
We'd love to do this and we'd love to help you support Northwest Ohio Komen. And it's just grown and grown every year and people look forward.
That is great. Rockets for the cure.
Yeah,
that
Rockets
is
for the cure.
Great. All right, and then the dinner that Chris, you helped put together. We're doing some fundraising.
Yeah, this was a fundraiser for the trip to Israel, right, Tricia?
It was, and you know, we were trying to raise over $100,000, and this was a big part of it. And Chris obviously came in and helped MC that event, and has done so many things for us through the past. And it just speaks of her generous heart. I don't know of many people that would lend a hand in every situation in the community possible, but what a great person, what a big heart, and we're so internally thankful.
Coach, thank you for coming. You said Chris could be on your team anytime. I don't know if she can play the game.
Look,
but I'm going to do you a favor. I got to recruit for you. There's one Riley Reynolds over there who can play the game, and she's almost as tall as I am.
I've got 4 years of eligibility left.
You know, she's got some time now. Maybe she'll help me coach.
Hey, there you go.
I love you. I love those girls. You know that. Thank you.
Thanks
for being here.
Now for the next bit of Chris trivia. Every Friday, this is true, Chris brings treats in for the newsroom. I mean, big boxes full. It just feeds the station cookies or some weeks apple fritters or donut cake. We love the donut cake. But do you know where she gets those delectable desserts? Wixie Bakery, they do a great job in Toledo. Brishke's Bakery, Sylvania, Aston's Bakery. Or did we just get a hint from the coach? Does she make them herself in her own kitchen? That is Chrys. The answer is coming up.
Chrys, I join hundreds of your viewers around and your closest friends and definitely your family in saying that we just need to thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for touching our community the way that you have. And thank you so much for giving it your all. Chrys Peterson, I'm gonna miss you.
As much as we appreciate Chrys for her personality and for her philanthropy work, it's her legacy as a journalist that I believe is most important. The quality of her writing, her editing, and the work she's done as a reporter, the work she's done for young journalists as they've come up, that's the true foundation for her legacy. Remember, Chrys is a pioneer. She broke up the old boys club as an anchor when she came to Toledo, and her true lasting legacy is the quality of journalism that she's practiced and the work she's done for this market over the last 20 years. We're going to miss you, Chrys.
I would like to wish Chrys Peterson wish her well and the best in her future endeavors. I would want to thank her, one, for being TPS proud, as well as being Toledo proud for all the years she dedicated here to Toledo, Ohio.
Chrys, you are a consummate professional, but more importantly, you have used the platform of being a news anchor to make a positive impact on this community. And your legacy is in your ability to connect with people and to serve and to lead. And it's amazing how you use every opportunity to elevate the worth and dignity of people around you. Job well done.
Hey Chrys, it's Phil. Good luck to you, sweetheart. Congratulations on your great career. God bless you, honey pie. I can't wait to see what you do next. I'm actually looking for a backup dancer. I think you qualify. I love you.
You've been such an advocate of community health and well-being, and I've enjoyed our time together at my annual community breakfast and For Every Woman by Marcy. But Chrys, as we both know, whether you're at work or whether you're at home, when the going gets tough, the tough calls mom. Take care and have a blessed time with your family.
It's been crystal clear from day one that you're passionate, you're compassionate, and that you quickly became a member of the Toledo community, and you live that every day with Tom and Riley, and we couldn't be more appreciative of that.
I think the first thing I talked about was when she got there the first day, and I walked over, introduced her, introduced myself, and I told her that there were 3 other people here named Chrys. And unfortunately, they were males, and you're the only girl here. And I said, whoops, I'm sorry, you're the only woman. And she said, no, 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 Orris, stay with the girl. I like that better. So I did. And I still call him a girl.
And OT always had an eye for the girl, didn't he? Hey, a few minutes ago, we asked where Chrys gets those tasty treats that she brings in for her coworkers. Every Friday, we affectionately call it Treat Friday. So these are all great choices, but the answer is, Chrys?
Brishke's Bakery in downtown Sylvania. Bonnie and Don fix me up every week.
Do you remember how the tradition started? It's been going on since forever. I mean, how did this start?
I don't know. I don't know.
On a given Friday, you said, I'm in a mood.
I think, I don't know. I think we brought cookies. Oh, I do know how it started. Yeah. When we started our big T-Sports report and Big Board Friday one year, we brought in football cookies. We had a big cake because of our new partnership there, and went on from there every Friday.
It's every Friday. You should
right.
see this newsroom, and really they come from other parts of the station too, because word is out.
Yeah, they come down.
Well, Robert Shiels, he's been Chrys's co-worker almost going back as far as you.
Yeah.
In fact, we all came the same year. You just got here ahead of Robert. And he has a look at some of those memorable moments that Chrys spent in front of a camera.
Oh, yeah. You know, Chrys gets attention for her work here on the anchor desk and out in the community, but she is really gifted when she gets out there and shares her personal stories and her storytelling talents.
Last year, Chrys introduced us to a local man who finds himself forever connected to one of America's most emotional moments, President Kennedy's funeral.
Much of the symbolism was lost on such a young boy until the camera captured a lone bugler at Arlington National Cemetery playing taps.
Eddie Hunter was a 5th grader at the time, himself a budding musician. He felt pain for the bugler who missed a note in front of a national audience. So he grabbed a typewriter and sent him a letter.
Anyone is bound to make a tiny mistake in front of millions upon millions of people. At first, I did not notice it until they reran the picture. You should hear some of the things I play.
That letter began a correspondence between the two, which culminated in a now adult Ed Hunter going to Washington, D.C. for the 50th anniversary of the Kennedy assassination. When she wasn't pulling on heartstrings, she was putting her voice on display elsewhere. In 2009, Chrys and Jerry teamed up to perform a Captain and Tennille classic during a Toledo Rotary Club fundraiser.
Pray on Christmas that the Lord will see me through.
For the past 3 years, Chrys has offered her talents to the local Make-A-Wish holiday fundraiser, Holiday Wishes CDs. Last year, 2 of Chrys's loves came together, singing and baseball. Chrys was honored to sing the national anthem at the Mud Hens' home opener this past season. Of course, her vocal cords aren't always being used to make musical notes.
You're all right. You're all right. You're all right. You're all right.
In 2002, Chrys got the chance to ride in style with one of the Blue Angels pilots. They came to town as part of the Toledo Air Show. Despite being put through the ringer, flipped and tossed in the air with the pros, she made it through and was even able to walk when it was all said and done.
Nice.
Yeah! I did pretty good, didn't I?
She not only had connections that got her in the air, she also got on the stage. In 2010, Chrys hit the stage at the Lucas County Rib-Off, performing with Phil Vassar.
This is from Molly. Can we have a word with you?
Chrys is an anchor and reporter, and she plays one on TV too, scoring a guest role on As the World Turns in 1996, playing, of course, a TV reporter, a role she knows very well.
This is Night Watch on Toledo 11, the news channel, with Chrys Peterson, Jeff Heitz, meteorologist Robert Shiels, and Dan Cummins with sports. Night Watch on Toledo 11, the news channel.
I'm completely in denial here, Gary, of everything that's happening. It's like I don't understand it.
You know, 27 minutes for her to change her mind.
I mean, when I started here, Chrys had only been at the station about 4 or 5 months.
Right.
And I felt like she had been here for years. She was it, and helped me because I was so young.
Yeah, we just saw the young go-getter.
We were all young.
Man, and everyone says the years go by so fast.
Yeah, and they do.
I hate to admit that they're correct. But
they do.
I mean,
Saw you on stage with Phil Vassar, and when we came back from break, Phil was giving you a message. You all know the country superstar, singer, songwriter, Phil Vassar. Explain that.
He went to James Madison University, and so did I. And we were there at the same time. And Phil left school a little bit early because he had the itch to go down and be a country star, and he did it.
Yeah.
He's amazing. So, yeah.
Really, whenever he comes around here, you have an open invitation.
He invites me on stage.
He just offered you a gig, too.
I know, backup dancer.
Backup dancer. She does have
I didn't think about that.
That's why there won't be any tears from me tonight. I'll wait for Monday to cry because Chrys has so many things ahead of her yet.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
And
I'm excited for
let's
you.
also mention that singing for you played an important role on your way up even before television.
Yeah, I put myself through college. The first time around when I got my bachelor's degree, singing in a rock band. Some of you know it's called Third Wave. And tons of fun. I mean, we played at college, but we also played in the surrounding areas in D.C. and as far south as North Carolina, and we had a great time.
I was going to make that one of the trivia questions. What was the name of the band?
Oh,
now
sorry.
We know. All right. Hey, still ahead now, we have told you about her work, of course, in the news, and we've shown you her impact on the community. Next, hear from the people who are really benefiting from her walking away from the anchor desk, Chrys's family. But before we go to that, we've got another bit of Chrys trivia here. When Chrys was young, her mom had a special pet name for her. Was it Blonde Bear? Okay. Sugar Mouse? Okay. Miss Chrys, I like that. Hey, Miss Chrys, or just Chrissy. Find out up next.
Hiya, Chrys.
It's your buddy, Jamie Farr. I'm at St. Michael's Antiochian Orthodox Church in Van Nuys, California. I lighted a candle for you, for your husband Tom, and for your daughter Riley this morning. Chrys, you're a class act. You're a classy mother, a classy wife, a classy newscaster, and a classy friend. My wife Joy and I send you our very best wishes for your future. You stay in touch.
I can't imagine anyone doesn't feel indebted to Chrys Peterson for what she has brought to us here in northwestern Ohio and southeastern Michigan. Thank you. Thank you for the elegance that you bring to broadcasting. Thank you for your bountiful heart, and thank you for your genuinely kind spirit.
Now, by the authority vested in me by the state of Ohio, I pronounce that they are husband and wife. May those thus joined together never be put asunder.
Hey, honey. Here I am in spring training, and there you are in Toledo, and just want you to know how much I wish I could be there to be with you on your last telecast. But understand I'm very proud of you and everything that you've done at WTOL. Just know I love you, and hurry up and come see me.
Love it.
I was there the night you got married when we saw at the top
Yes,
of that.
you were.
And you guys wrote your own vows.
Mhm.
Okay, but it was pretty clear after a while that Chrys was off the written vows, and our colleague Jim Taylor, in the solemnity of the moment, turned to me and goes, "Imagine Peterson ad libbing."
You know, sometimes you think of things that you didn't think of before when you were writing it down, right?
Get married once, and this is the time to do it.
That's right.
You've seen a lot of familiar faces tonight wishing Chrys the best as she says goodbye after 20 years at WTOL, but there have been two people, arguably the most important, noticeably missing so far: Chrys's husband and daughter, Tom, who you just saw on tape there, and Riley. For those of you who don't know, Tom is the bench coach for the Colorado Rockies baseball team of the National League, which means he leaves for spring training in February and doesn't come back home for good until October. Today is actually his first game at spring training, so he couldn't be here tonight. But Chrys, this is a surprise to you, but Emily spent some time with Tom and with Riley just days before he left for Arizona.
That's right, Chrys, just days before he left. And here's the thing, when Chrys moved to Toledo almost 20 years ago, like so many of us, she didn't know what life had in store. She thought maybe she'd stay here a few years and move on. But then life happened. She met a man, she fell in love, she made a home, had a daughter, and equally important to this story, Toledo fell in love with her.
It's awesome to have a mom with this job, and it's fun to have all my friends come up to me and say, "Oh, I saw your mom on TV last night." And
get ready for the orange barrels. The Chrys Peterson we know, the woman we turn to when big stories break, the poster child for community involvement, that beautiful blonde with a contagious smile. Everything she has given us has not come without some sacrifice.
When you grow up and you have your mom there to like help you with your homework and tuck you in at night, and I didn't really have any of that.
Riley has grown up in a house full of love, but 5 nights a week, it's a babysitter shuttling her between play practice, voice lessons, and basketball games. Chrys is very much aware she has only 4 years left until her little girl graduates and heads out to conquer the world. She knows it's valuable time, games, plays, and performances they can't get back.
She's done a tremendous job juggling mother, wife, job, home, everything. And you know, when I leave, it's all on her, so she's really had to shoulder the burden.
Tonight, as Chrys steps away from the anchor desk, our loss is their gain.
I'm really excited just to be able to hang out and talk with her instead of just always having to do it over the phone. It's amazing to me that she's so strong and she can do this, and I'm really happy for her. And it means a lot because I know she's going to be here and she's going to be able to go to my basketball games and my performances for theater. And
spend 5 minutes with Riley and you know the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. At 13, she is compassionate, well-spoken, wise beyond her years, and independent.
I told her, I said, "Mom, don't be one of those helicopter moms who's always on top of me at every second." And she said she's going to try.
Besides hovering over Riley, we don't know for sure what Chrys will do next, but there is no doubt it will be something remarkable.
She is the gorgeous, independent, brilliant woman, and she's the most amazing mom that anyone could ever ask for because she's fabulous and she's my biggest role model in this world.
She's a very, very caring person. She's a servant. She puts other people's needs ahead of her own. And she is as warm as they come. She just, astounds me each and every day that of everything that she's accomplished in her life up to this point. And I know for everything that she's going to accomplish. She's a tremendous woman.
Mom, I think I would just tell you to do whatever makes you happy. You've done this job for so long and you've loved it, and I'm so proud of you that you're starting a new chapter in your life, and I hope whatever you decide to do makes you just happy.
Chrissy, the next chapter of your life, if it's anything close to as exciting as the first chapter, we're all in for a great ride. We love you and we're so proud of you.
Love you.
Beautiful story, Em.
It really is, and they do love you so much. And I know Tom wishes he could be here so much tonight. He was texting me, is this streaming live on the internet minutes before it started? So I know he's watching right now.
But I think that people can, hi Tom, I think people can look at Riley and Tom and tell, why. I mean, they're remarkable people, both of them. And,
there she
and
is.
There
she
is. Hi Riley. And our life has not been the traditional family life that most people live, and we've made it work the best we can. But I think this will work better.
Well, Riley, she's promising not to be the helicopter mom.
I didn't promise that.
Okay. Hey, by the way, our final piece of Chrys trivia delved into her past. We asked, what did Chris's mom nickname have for her when she was younger? Are you gonna? You know who we should ask?
I know who we should ask.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Chrys.
Well, sit down.
Welcome, Carol. This is Carol.
Thank you for making your way up.
Her mommy. Chrys called me on the way up here this afternoon.
Yeah.
We were.
She
my
said
sister,
she was going to get her hair done.
Yes. Obviously, I didn't.
You look great, Carol. You look great.
But my sister Joyce came with us, and she kept saying, "Shh, don't say it. Shh."
And my brother.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Hi, you guys. Nice to see you. I haven't seen Corey since a wedding, for Pete's sake. That's how long ago that's been. We still have to answer that trivia question. We asked, what did this nickname that you had for Chrys when she was young?
Well, actually, it's a trick question because she calls me two of those things, really.
Okay.
But when I was little, she called me Sugar Mouse.
Sugar Mouse is the answer we were looking for.
Yeah. She also always calls me Chrissy. Whenever, I talk to her still.
Yeah. Chrys was my little sugar mouse, and until she was probably 2 or so, she thought she was a mouse.
You said that when people would ask her, are you a little boy or a little girl, because she had little short blonde hair.
She had no hair.
She had no hair. And what would she say?
I'm not a girl or a boy, I'm a sugar mouse. Very indignant.
Yeah. I've had a chance to meet you over the years and interview Chrys most recently. The impact, why don't you talk about the impact that this lady has had on you? You talk about role models and your mom, Riley. Carol, to you.
I was just selected as or voted by the Toledo City paper readers as the best community role model. And they talked to me a little bit about that, and I said I had the best role model of all in my mom. And she has always lived by the golden rule. She treats others the way that she would like to be treated, with respect and dignity, no matter who they are in her life. She would give you the shirt off her back. She's so generous. And
she's offering.
And look, she's so savvy about TV. She wore her red.
She wore her red. Very good, Carol.
Her best color.
It's the power color.
That's right.
And Carol, at what age did you know that this lady was destined for outstanding stuff?
That's very simple. Chrys went to kindergarten, YMCA kindergarten, and they had swimming as part of their curriculum.
Okay.
And all year they learned to swim, did their little strokes. Chrys would never jump off the diving board, ever. And they had their little graduation. We were there, parents were there. Chrys walked out, all the kids went out, jumped off the board. Chrys walked out and she looked down and she walked a little bit up towards the edge. Her toes were curling around the edge of the diving board. And she looked back at us and she looked down and she looked back and she jumped. And that day I knew that this girl would be able to do anything she wanted to do. And she has.
And she has.
She has. Chrys shines a light wherever she goes. And I know I'm her mom, a little prejudiced.
She's very prejudiced.
But she shines a light everywhere she goes. And she leaves a bright light behind.
Thank
you.
I love you much.
And I would say the apple didn't fall far.
No, and then you can see it too when you meet Riley. I mean, all 3 generations, you know where they get it.
Hey, we're going to be right back to wrap up our special celebration of Chrys Peterson's 40 years. Do stay with us.
I have to, first of all, tonight, just thank our general manager, Bob Sheridan, for allowing us to take an hour of prime time and turn it into the Chrys Peterson, This Is Your Life. It's been really awesome to be able to look back on some of the things that we've done. And I don't know, I'm sure it's costing him lots of money to do it. And I appreciate all of the work that everybody has put into this tonight, because I know my colleagues have all put in a lot of work on this special. 20 years ago, I came to Toledo as evening anchor, not knowing what to expect. I didn't know anyone here, but I was following my heart to continue building my career in TV news. And I expected to stay for about 3 or 4 years and then hopefully get a job in my hometown of Washington, D.C. But a funny thing happened on the way to a bigger market. I fell in love with Northwest Ohio. I also fell in love with the Mud Hens manager, Tom Runnels, and married him at the Toledo Museum of Art. You were there with me for that. You were also there when Tom and I had a baby girl, Riley, in July of 2000. And I want to thank my family, because this job does require some sacrifice to do it right. It's not flexible. You have to be here when it's news time. You have to be available on weekends and holidays. And Tom and Riley have really given up things to support my job here, and I love them for that. And now I will be there for them. Thank you for taking an interest in and sharing my personal life with me over the past 20 years. Thanks also for sharing your stories with me. I've had incredible assignments over the years. You saw many of them here tonight, interviewing presidents and first ladies and other celebrities. I've sung with the Beach Boys, flown with the Blue Angels, made a guest appearance on a soap opera, and you have watched, you've commented, you've criticized, and you've complimented me along the way, and all of your feedback has made me a better anchor and a better reporter, so thank you. I want to thank those of you who have trusted me with your stories over the years, many times at very vulnerable moments in your life. And I have to specifically mention the foster children that I featured over those 17 years on Home for Keeps. It takes a lot of courage as a child to talk about wanting a forever family. And I am so proud of the awareness we raised and the children who found homes because of our weekly segment. I've heard from several of them. You saw one of them here tonight. I also want to thank all of the brave women and men who have shared their breast cancer experiences with me. My involvement with the Northwest Ohio Komen Race for the Cure has been an amazing experience, and what we have built here together as a community, raising money and awareness to fight this disease, has completely inspired me. So thank you to everyone who has shared the journey with me. I am so grateful also, I just have to say, to CJ Butine and Mel Stebbins, the news director and general manager, who changed my life when they took a chance hiring a 28-year-old girl from Virginia to play such a major role at WTOL. They have both moved on, but I've always tried to live up to their expectations in this job. I want to thank my coworkers. You see many of us on TV tonight and every night, but I couldn't do my job without all the amazing people here who work behind the scenes, both in our newsroom and in our business office. They are the glue that keeps this place going. They are amazing talents who deserve to be appreciated and valued and recognized. I have worked with amazing co-anchors. You saw Jeff Heitz. He took me under his wing and taught me so much about this area and about journalistic integrity. Bill Horman, Terry Thill were also terrific partners. And Terry liked to coordinate our outfits each day, and I loved that about him. Most recently, Emily Voss joined me at the anchor desk at 5:30 here, and there has been no official announcement about who will take over for me, but Emily certainly has proven that she's worthy of the job, and I hope you all will wrap your arms around her like you did with me 20 years ago. She is special. Dan Cummins and I have worked on some amazing specials together, covering the UT Rockets in the Las Vegas Bowl years ago, covering the Jamie Farr golf tournament together over the years. I have great memories of those things. Robert Shiels has let me, and only me, call him Bobby all these years. He's an incredible talent, amazingly accurate. We've been together for nearly 20 years as co-workers and friends and partners. But I think the partnership that everyone will remember is Chrys and Jerry. Some of you have described us as peanut butter and jelly, or Lucy and Ricky, and I call him my work husband. We have really had a special chemistry on the air through the years. Jerry is one of the most talented interviewers, anchors, and storytellers I have ever known, and he has made me a better professional. I love you, Jerry. It's been so awesome being here with you. And it's gonna be really tough for me to not see my coworkers on a daily basis because they are all my family too, and I love them dearly. It will also be really difficult for me to lose you because WTOL has the most amazing viewers. I have truly enjoyed all of our interactions over the years. You have opened your hearts to me, invited me into your homes each night, and I can never thank you enough for that. I don't know yet where I will be working next, but I am not leaving town, so please don't stop saying hello at the grocery store or at the UT women's basketball games. We can also stay connected through Facebook and Twitter, and I hope you will do that. I just love the camaraderie that we have shared over these 20 years. I came here 20 years ago to make a difference in this community, and I hope you feel I've accomplished that. I hope your life is better or happier in some small way because you included me in it. I know for a fact that my life has been richer and more blessed because of all of you. And all I can say tonight is very humbly, thank you.